Hi everyone, thank you for coming, and I can't see the end post if there's anyone over there, but okay, good. Thank you for coming to Breakout Room A for our session to talk about Facebook and the local journalism best social media best practices initiative that we are working on. So we're going to tell you a little bit about what the program is, what we're doing, especially because we're going to be rolling some of this stuff out to Lion's entire membership soon. And then we want to spend time talking to three of our participants who are here today with us, who are members of Lion and also INN, the other organization that we've been working with. So I'm Stephanie Murray. I am with the Center for Cooperative Media. We are one of, thank you, New Jersey. So we're one of the main partners in this project. So this project involves Facebook. It's funded by the Knight Foundation. Of course, Lion, INN, the Institute for Nonprofit News, as well as my center, the Center for Cooperative Media, and our consultant on the project, Mr. David Beard. So this is what we're doing. The project was originally conceived as part of the Facebook journalism project. Jennifer Preston from the Knight Foundation was talking with Anya Kerr, who had been at Facebook until just recently. She left to start her own thing, about how we could help small, independent, and nonprofit news organizations take better advantage of Facebook. Because anytime we would hear things about who was involved in product testing, experimentation, it's usually the large news organizations. It's usually the New York Times. It's usually CNN. It's the Guardian. You know, organizations that have a lot of capacity to do these sorts of things. But we thought there was a way that we could get better access to the company through the Facebook Journalism Project, and working specifically with INN and Lion. Another goal of the project was to help surface issues that your organizations are dealing with to higher levels at Facebook. One of the things that I know we all have complained about from time to time, if you've got an issue, it sometimes can be hard to get in touch with someone at the community, especially at the company rather, especially if you're a small news organization that doesn't have any contact with any representatives from Facebook previously. So we wanted to be able to surface issues that come up for you and communicate those to our team at Facebook, our teammates at Facebook, so that they would be able to help their teams incorporate our feedback into things that they're working on and iterating on. We also wanted to give opportunities to individual news organizations and INN and Lion to work specifically on projects related to Facebook, and we would provide some help to them to do that. And of course, a big goal of the project is any Knight-funded program is to make sure that we share what we find broadly. So we started at the end of June. We really started in July. And so what happened so far is we've put together a cohort of 6 news organizations, 3 from Lion, 3 from INN, that are working on specific projects. The first cohort, as we'll tell you in a little bit, have been really focused on digital marketing efforts, especially digging deeper into using Facebook's ad platform to target audiences and to collect more information on their audiences, especially email addresses, through instant articles, through using ads so that they can build relationships with those people and build them into their audience funnel. We did do a training day in Detroit, the Detroit Journalism Cooperative, and we also brought our cohort to New York City to meet with our Facebook teammates there. We also started a project I'll tell you a little bit more about later, which is we're calling it Facebook Fundamentals. We've been regularly meeting with our Facebook partners who are in the room right now with us. Doreen Mendoza, who you saw this morning. Doreen's been a wonderful partner of ours. And we are getting ready to work with Media Shift to launch peer-to-peer training groups, which you'll hear more about probably in the next month, because Mark's going to start that program in November. And then we're looking forward to the next cohort in January. So the first cohort is 6 organizations, like I mentioned, that includes Homepage Media Group in Tennessee, with Kelly's here today, line board member. Also, Philadelphia Public School Notebook, Maria Arcangelo will be talking to us about what she's doing there, and Q City Metro with Mr. Glenn Birkin sitting next to me. The cohorts also involve Berkeley side in California, the Texas Tribune, and Honolulu Civil Beat. So we want to tell you a little bit about what we found so far working with the first cohort. So David's going to talk about some of the things that he's been working with the organizations on, because David's been working directly with the 6 pilot sites, providing support and coaching and consulting help. And then after that, I'll tell you a little bit about Facebook fundamentals, and we'll hear from our cohort.
Yeah, but I mean, even I'll go into that in a second. But even before that, I tried to think, what if I were Doreen at Facebook, and what if I had to involve people in product or engineering or other parts of the company in something that has not been traditionally triaged? Like, what's the overarching reason? What's in it for Facebook to work with smaller places? So I tried to do sort of a profile of each of the publishers and why different situations, say Berkeley side, you would not think of Berkeley as a news desert, but the 3 mainstream papers all shrank, so that it left nobody covering like an extremely articulate community with daily coverage, and it created an opportunity. People came from business into journalism, or journalism into business. Lance, as some of you who know him, has an expertise in events. That's why he's not here. He's doing his annual Ideas Conference this weekend, which through this project, we found a way to get it to a broader audience and get more tickets for it, which is a substantial part of his revenue pie. Other people came, like Kelly from marketing world, and saw, like, you wouldn't think that Williamson County would be a news desert, but if the Nashville paper retrenched for a while, they're coming back, from its prosperous suburbs, all of a sudden there was an opening for this homepage, very hyper-local type thing that might not have been as strong 15 years ago. So why, cases and places, they are news deserts, but they're maybe fertile soil. If we could find out what works there, maybe we could find out how to do things in Ely, Nevada, or someplace that really hasn't seen regular news coverage for a long time, helping with, there's a separate unit at Facebook that's sort of engineering what is local and how do we do a better job of getting local news in. So maybe this would be material that would be useful in that end. So that was just internal research, and then also figuring out how we could play, how each person could be a case study to help the broader membership of Lion or INN as well. So in doing that, what we found going in is probably what you would have seen going in, and was even surprising, I think, to Stephanie and myself, is just how many resources are out there to do the many branches of what Facebook does. There's a blueprint, there's facebook.com/blueprint that has masses of tutorials, and where you can really learn about, if you were starting a publication today, maybe you would want to say, who do I want my audience to be? And they might want to, maybe they have an intersection with the public radio station, or they have something. So you would begin to kind of guarantee your success, build your audience ahead of time. But the depths and the techniques for this type of audience work, you may see in other fields other than journalism. You may see in very specialized, high-end magazine or media companies. But it was something that we had to learn or do, really develop, and something that we're only partially there, but we are learning to ask the right questions, I think, in a way. And we also understand the primacy of this too. If Ned is in the audience, I don't want to throw it away. He ended his session yesterday with saying all the people are at Facebook. And how do you get all the people outside of Facebook to, Joe's website, and that in some ways we are, if we can find a way for whatever our goal would be. Jay Rosen might call it email +1, so we want to do this, but we also want to increase the number of donors, or we also want to increase the numbers on this one list. So we have a discrete goal as well as understanding this stuff as well. Anyway, we had to discover all these new tools, and we had to realize that there was nobody really that explained it the way we wanted to, that clicked in for how the pixel works on different pages, or how. So we'll talk about a little bit of that later. Ad types, building ads, or composition of those ads, or even the degrees of the many different ways of audience targeting were sort of foreign concepts. People had notions of 2 or 3 different ways, not the best ways, maybe age or something, to do that, but there are much better ways. So we've got to learn that. And I mean, the only comparison I can give you is I studied Spanish for 4 years, stunk. Went to Spain because I was in Navy ROTC, and I had a couple days before I had to show up for my ship in Rota. And I took a Mercedes cab from the airport to the hotel and realized if I didn't learn Spanish in a hurry, I was going to be broke. And so I had an impetus to learn that many Americans don't have. So, and went back and then went to Mexico for a while just to really nail it. So I hope that this project has sort of been an impetus for the publishers to realize we're working in a different field where the people are. And if we're working in a field that needs people as customers, we better damn well know it, and know it a lot better than we know it now. So those are probably the main type things. Focus, a lot of times we have 12 ideas and they all sound kind of good, and we do half-hearted things at 12 things and hope that those mixed bets move somewhere else. Focus is really critical. What are you trying to do? And let's work on the key question and make small changes around that key question. Learn about A/B testing. You know about A/B testing sometimes with headlines and other things, but A/B testing in your Facebook ad is just critical, or just understanding 3 parts of I'm trying to build awareness, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to convert. So what are you trying to convert to? The email product. Why? And you guys know this because people who get the email product are more likely to be a donor or subscriber. So that's my key thing. That's why if I don't do that, I'm going to be at the behest of big foundations to do their pet projects, and I'll forget exactly what was the core idea that made me want to start this site in the first place. And I'm not doing my readers any good at the same time. So those are some of the early findings were about focus. Hard to tell from my talk, but also just goofing around in FB's Blueprint can inspire broader thinking on your enterprise. So if you went there, maybe as part of this fundamentals thing, you're better. Maybe we'll have a greatest hits, or we'll refashion other places like the API Better project. In some ways, the layout of this API project is very much like Facebook's Blueprint. If you look at it, it's almost like it was editorially designed by Facebook's Blueprint for a style that you can learn it from. So, and also, you get to spend money, a little bit of money, and maybe you learn how to go from $2 to $1.13 to 41 cents for a lead. And then you have organic leads and some paid leads. What we haven't done so far is the leads that we've gotten for our email from custom audiences or lookalike audiences from Facebook. Do they retain? Are they still with you on your email product 3 or 6 or 9 months out? We don't know yet because it's kind of new. But we're gaining. I know that we're gaining readers that are closer to the core mission of what you're trying to do than if you gave away T-shirts, or it might be a card that you dropped in the fishbowl at the event, or for a prize. So those are all cool things. And then I would say that you have to really have the spirit of a troubleshooter. all the way through. Some aspects we're finding are being ironed out, but we still, in the things you have to do in certain Facebook systems, Ad Manager, Power Editor, are not that intuitive. You just like any other thing, it's muscle memory and it's doing it over and over again that might make it better. Some of the things that it might prompt you to do is get you to think not just like a journalist or not just like a marketer, but like a content house for advertising. What type of ad is it? That's a question you're not used to asking. That some of you might not have to do, but it sort of makes you choose at one end. So those are some of the. I don't know. I'm going to let you guys. I'm sorry I went on, but I'm going to let you guys talk about some learnings you've got too.
Thanks, David. So I guess I'll back up a minute and just sort of say that we came to the Facebook project. I joined the Notebook about a year and a half ago. The Notebook is a 23-year-old nonprofit news organization that was started by parents and activists who felt like stories that were not being told about the school district that were really important, and that journalism could not only inform but empower the community to make the changes that it sought. So one of the things that we did was we hadn't been really doing a lot on social media when I came a year and a half ago. We had probably about maybe like 3,500 followers on Facebook. We had more followers on Twitter. We were in that sort of wonky Twitter space with a lot of education policy people. But we did decide that we wanted to grow our parent audience, which is currently about 25% of our audience. And so we started really focusing on social media. And we really grew our Facebook followers from about 3,500 a year and a half ago to almost 7,500 now. And during that time period, we also realized that we had about 650 donors. So I was like, 7,200 followers on Facebook, 650 donors. I would like to make more of those Facebook followers donors. So when we first started talking about our project, that was what we were thinking could be our project. And typically the progression is, and I have had a little stint in communications and marketing, so for a legal software company, so I brought that sort of to the thinking, but I know that normally the thinking is, get people to sign up for your newsletter and then convert them to donors. I wanted to see during this project what we could do. Could we make people go from Facebook followers to donors right away? And I cheated a little bit, and I'll tell you about how I cheated. But well,
you're in a room full of journalists.
Exactly. So I have to be honest when I'm with my people. Okay, so this project, I'll say, like from the beginning for me, I've always been interested in trying to crack the Facebook code, right? I mean, I think a lot of us do view it. I think maybe it was Glenn who said necessary evil at some point, maybe. But somebody said it, and it's been hard to. We all have our various thoughts about it, and it is difficult at times to, we've got the commenters and you've got, traffic issues and posts being, figuring out the algorithm. But from the beginning, I have felt like the people who worked with us on this were just really wanting to help us, which was just so wonderful. And I hope that through this process, this will all help you. And if there's an opportunity to do this again, that you guys will apply to be part of it, because it has been so helpful. So, the biggest thing for us was trying to figure out how we figure out, there were so many things we didn't know. For example, in order to, so when you're on your site and it says things like, do you want to boost this post for $50, or as someone said today, yen or something. We boosted a lot of posts. We never spent a lot of money. We boosted posts. We got some good engagement. But I never really thought about anything beyond boosting posts. And sometimes I would talk to either friends who had businesses or advertisers, and they thought of that as an ad. And there's a whole Facebook ad world that is not boosting a post. And that's like my biggest thing that I want to tell people, like, that is not an ad. There's an whole ad world, right? Facebook Ad Manager that you use, and you can do a lot more with it in terms of targeting. So if you don't know this, like, this is the key thing. You can do a lot
to
more.
leave you with all of these resources and much more. So.
Yes, yes. So you make an ad, you can do a lot more targeting. So that's what we started doing. And we are lucky enough to be part of we're a nonprofit, we're part of the Newsmatch. So we try to do all of this around Newsmatch, building our donors, getting new donors, getting them from Facebook. And the way I cheat it is I am giving away tickets to see Springsteen on Broadway. Okay? So I spent the first month of my Facebook advertising promoting giving away tickets to see Springsteen on Broadway. And that allowed me to try a whole bunch of different things. So we tried like straight up Springsteen advertising, straight up like, trying to draw comparison, links between people who are interested in social issues. And I was able to target those people through Facebook advertising, like if you're interested in Bruce Springsteen, right? But also education. Are you interested in Democrats? Bernie Sanders. Different issues. Like I'm trying all these interesting ways of targeting audiences.
So it's sort of like the nexus between
Exactly.
people that would read the Philadelphia Public School Notebook,
Exactly.
people that would like Bruce Springsteen, and that was your Venn
Exactly.
diagram.
That's what I was trying. So we got huge engagement, tons of clicks,
But
but no conversions. Like
very few
minimal
conversions. Right.
conversions. Like I'm talking, maybe, I don't remember what I said to David at one point. It was something like 1,000 clicks and like 8 donations. I'm like, what? So we got on the phone with Facebook, amazing, and they sat down with us, or they virtually sat down with us, and they literally went through and said, okay, here's some advice on how to do your ad, here's what is kind of confusing on your landing page where people get to you, here's how you can retarget an ad if people get to your donation page and bail. So like I made an ad targeted to people who went all the way to there and did not complete a donation. So it like just targets them. So now I am one of those people that when you like searched for something and then later you're on, and that's me now.
That register's following
But it works. So right as of now, I have 84 donations and 44 of them are from brand new donors, which is a very high percentage of
So-
new donors.
so 80
All
of
my-
those are like in the last week and a half.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I had Facebook money to do that. We did have $3,000 in Facebook ad credits. And on that piece, I spent about $1,100.
So I have a question.
Yes.
So you refer to it as cheating, which is fine. That's
Yeah.
perfectly. But I'm interested in hearing from Facebook. You have a name.
Doreen.
Doreen from Facebook is her name.
So that's one of the things, like I think for people in our industry is, the algorithm. It's like the Death Star, right? Or so, it's not, but it's this sort of mysterious thing wrapped in riddles and enigmas, and you don't know what it is. So is that cheating, or is that just a really inventive hack that sort of helped her grow the audience that ultimately she retargeted, which led to additional donations? You see the difference?
I think it's a journalism approach to advertising
Okay.
content. It's not cheating, it's what the tools were designed to do. And when she got to sit down with Catalina, and Catalina explained retargeting to her in the landing page, that's exactly how you would optimize a spend like that. We definitely want you, if you're going to spend money, we want you to spend it in the best way possible.
Right.
And luckily, we were able to see what she had done before, and then sit her down with someone through this project so that she can then bring these lessons back to everyone else who maybe won't have that opportunity. But I don't think it's cheating.
Well, to me, the
Not
cheating
organic.
part was that I gave away tickets. Let me just be clear. To me, the cheating was giving away tickets. It
Why
wasn't.
is that cheating?
Well, because it's like not just sending you because I have awesome content. So here's where I'm going to go next. Yeah, so I was like
All right,
being
I don't
like,
want to take you off into
yeah. So
thank you.
so that was my, like, I was cheating because, like, to me, I was like the public radio station, right? I'm like, okay, you donate, and I'm going to give you this. So then we moved into phase 2, which is, and David and I talked about that, and that is really trying to promote on Facebook what we do. And that is, we just started that. And so that is more, you know,
Brand marketing.
unacceptable classroom spaces, you know, lead in school water, you know, and now I want to see how that plays, and if that brings me, so like we just started that like yesterday, and I got 3 new donors.
Are you talking to that same audience that you retargeted?
I have
from your-
I have tweaked that audience to be more education focused, and so I keep tweaking it. Like every time I'm like, if I'm not seeing a good enough amount of response in like maybe 8 hours, I might like tweak that audience a little bit more. And I'm just constantly looking at it or trying to come at it from a different way. But the point of all of this is there's so much to do in there that's really interesting, but also using, you know, I also did crazy things like joined like every Bruce Springsteen fan page and posted it on all of their pages.
Well, that was smart.
And yeah, so now my Facebook feed personally is just like nothing but people with tattoos of Bruce Springsteen's face on their body. But
Unintended consequences.
exactly. So I'll I'll unjoin them eventually. But that helped. And the other crazy thing is that, like, in general, our engagement just sort of went up. So the question for me will be ultimately, how many of those people do we retain? You know, they joined, did they join because we're giving away tickets? Did they join because they thought we were doing something interesting? And will we keep them down the road? But in general, I would say it's really worth your time to spend some time in there and to go through the findings when this is done, because there is so much that is helpful, and I do think that is where the people are, and for us, it's generated like a ton of really interesting conversations, and just the more we engage on Facebook, I will tell you, we had a Facebook audit of our site, of our Facebook page. They told us, because we post probably 6 times a day on Facebook, maybe 8. They told us that we should be posting 25 times a day. So
Every day.
and that was one of the things that I was like, oh my God. But yes, 25 times a day. So
You can't post enough.
cannot post enough. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think sorry.
Yeah,
it's not my
go,
turn.
go, it's your turn. Go, it's your turn.
So
There you go.
it
Oh,
doesn't
yay.
matter if it's 3 to 5 or, you know, all the little times where we think people are on, because 25 times.
25 times. They don't get sick of you, and they don't see everything, so it's not.
Is it a function of the fact that there's so much volume? Like, that there's so much going through the average user's feed that 25 feels like me being
Yeah.
like nails on the chalkboard.
Right, Josh went over those numbers.
But what I'm not seeing is that I see all 25 of those posts because
Right.
I write them,
But they
but
don't.
my user
Yeah.
doesn't. So you're making sure that I'm not being annoying. I'm doing enough that somebody sees it. Is that sort of the way, like, in layman's terms, it's kind of working?
So I was just gonna ask, is that 25 unique posts, or is that replicating some?
I didn't ask that question, but I think it's unique, right?
They-
Like,
They said,
yeah,
and something I was at, which
Yeah.
there's been a lot of things we were at.
yeah.
But unique
I just
could
remember
be,
hearing that.
unique could be, you've got 8 different variations
Yes.
on each news story that you do that you run over a 3-week period. or
Yeah.
something like that. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's not like this happened yesterday.
So when they told you 25 posts, I mean, was there any discussion of balancing that with the quality of those posts?
No, I mean, it was in the context of you're a news site, and I'm looking at your posts.
This is my sen.
That, you know, that you're posting a lot of good content in order to really drive traffic to your site, it's a good idea, to your Facebook page, it's a good idea to post 25 times a day.
But they were saying you don't. It's not just your stories that you're posting.
Yes.
You're posting other things to engage the readers.
Oh.
Puppies and kitties, babies and dogs. I mean, there's other
For
things.
a hyper-local site.
Yes, hyperlocal dogs. But
I don't post too many jokes, but yes.
no,
yeah.
we don't either. And
But
we
yeah.
and it's
So it's
the
like-
joke in our newsroom is this going to be puppies and kitties?
Yeah.
So it's like native. It's like video that's going direct to Facebook. So it's not a
Right,
link
and-
to.
and think
it's not
about
a
what-
link to a video on your site. It's a video that's maybe being uploaded direct from the scene. Like if you're a news site,
Yeah.
we're breaking. So
It could be a Facebook Live. It could be like
yeah. So like we had a breaking news story Thursday, and we went direct live to Facebook with the press conference,
Good.
Yeah.
the FBI and the DA, and that's
That's
that's the variety. It's not always linking back. It's not 25.
Yeah, you're not talking about
No,
trying
no.
to post a story 25 times a day. That's
No.
not doable. But you can think about what Jim Brady just said. You can share stories from other news organizations. You can, you could even come back and say, hey, this story from yesterday went viral, and there's a lot of comments. Been a lot of comments on it. What do you think?
Exactly.
One of them can be, hey, there's a lot of construction going on. Do you guys have any questions about what's going on Franklin Road? We got a major highway under construction.
Does this sort of come down to like this? It feels to me like what you're saying is that Facebook is going to value. They're looking for you to contribute to the Facebook community. You need to give as well as take.
Well,
And I mean that in the sense
Yeah,
to be part
I
of,
think-
to be part
Yeah, I
of
think
Facebook.
more what it's like, it's really hard for many of us to get out of the mindset that if we post something on Facebook, it's right there and everyone is going to see it.
Right.
Like every time you're adding something to the river, adding more things to the river that
River's
someone
too
might
nice.
see. And it depends on who your friends are, and other things that you like, and other things that you've read before, and something else you've interacted with that day. And the more things you're adding to the potential pile for people to look at. But it's hard because we tend to think of our pages as the bulletin board.
Right.
And everyone's going to see that I post
Right.
all this stuff, and they're going to think I'm crazy. That's really not how most of any of us interact with Facebook. How often do you go to a brand's page and scroll through all of their posts? That's not even like really
Exactly.
how pages are set up to be optimized today. Like that's just not how it works. But it's hard for many of us to get out of that mindset, especially because very early on, that's how a lot of us treated the platform, right?
I was shocked. I mean, I was literally shocked when she said 25 times. But I think that Kelly's right. It is a mixture of things. Sometimes for us, it's like we had people send us their first day of school pictures. We just posted a whole bunch of them. That's sort of
Yeah, Halloween. We're doing a Halloween contest, and you win a free Jets pizza if you have the cutest costume. But we want it all posted on Facebook.
Yeah.
So
your turn.
my turn.
We're
Okay.
running out of time, so I have
I'm sorry,
this is
I'm
a good
sorry.
conversation. I just want to make sure you're
Yeah. So I was lucky. I got to bring 2 of my employees to New York, and that was their motivation to help me do this. Was that trip to New York? But so my accounts manager,
You're gonna
who
check next week.
I just got an email.
Okay.
My accounts manager, I took her because she handles, we have a marketing arm that we've had since 2012. And we've kind of had no more than 10 clients at a time. Our sweet spot is usually 5 to 6 clients, and we can take really good care of them. And we do their social media posts. But I have not been confident enough in my ability to buy ads to add that on to what we are doing. And so Allie's just turned 30, and she's very, very smart about all social media. She used to work at CMT, Country Music Television, for those of you who aren't from the South. And so she knows how to do all of that. And so I wanted her engaged in this Facebook blueprint, which is basically how you get certified to handle Facebook for other people or for yourself. And then I brought my best sales rep, who is the most innovative with ideas. And we were launching all of these new special sections like Home Sweet Home, and we did a new section called the Timeout for young moms, because that's an area where we can increase our audience. And so she was there to kind of learn how we could promote the clients who sign up for that native content and the different ways we could do that, as well as we started a Facebook group for Timeout, so that these moms would have a Facebook group, which you have to ask to join. It's not like anybody can just drop in. And we have to accept them into the group, and so we can keep it moms, except David Beard is in there.
Yeah.
David Beard and a bunch of moms.
Yeah.
And so,
Anyway.
My project kind of kept getting multifaceted, but we're practicing on ourselves with the ad buys. I need to grow my email list because I am able to make a lot of money on my email, and I can charge more if I have more people. And so that's what I'm using some of the ad dollars for. We also just rebranded Style Homepage, which is my only vertical that's not a news site, and we're putting out new branding on that. One of the things I really learned that I felt so stupid about was when you should boost a post. Like I was starting a brand new site in a county outside of my county. That's not funny. And so we were starting, and it was like every time we posted something, I was throwing money at it. Boost it, boost it, boost it. And I mean, it was like nobody had even seen it yet, and I was boosting it. And I didn't understand that it needs to get some traction, and you need to get some movement going before you boost it. And that was a big eye-opener to me because I thought I just automatically could get it boosted,
Many news organizations through the Facebook Fundamentals program we were working with, that's what they do is regular strategy, post and boost, post and boost, post and boost, post and boost. They're not spending a lot of money, but they're doing it every time.
Yeah, and to me, what I learned was if I held back the dollars and we had a story, crime or a bad wreck or something, that I could actually be more useful to my community by boosting that there's a terrible wreck on 65 and nobody's going anywhere, don't get on the interstate. That's what I need to boost because that is what's going to help my community. And it stopped being about, I gotta get page views so I can get ad dollars. And it started being about, what's gonna help them the most for me to get that out there. There's some problems with that because breaking news it's harder to get your boost your story or boost or whatever might not be approved quickly enough. And so there's that kind of problem. And that was feedback that we gave Facebook. We also told them that it sucks for us that it says sponsored post when we click that boost because it makes it look like somebody's paying us to do that. And that's original content. It's not sponsored content. And so that one word kind of changes the public's perception or anybody who understands Facebook or doesn't understand Facebook, sorry. And so we've been able to give them that kind of feedback, which I think was really important, and I think they very much appreciated. And that was Lance that came up with that. Can you take off that sponsor? And then I asked for a Batman signal so that when we had breaking news, we could hit the button, and it didn't have to be. And I haven't gotten it yet, so I'll let you know if I do.
I don't know if any of you guys have had this experience, but sometimes your stuff gets stuck in the approval process if you're trying to boost it, and it's stressful. And lots of times it's good because there's words in the image or there's...
So far right now, like with the Facebook Blueprint and getting certified and all that, we've got 3 customers who are renewing at the end of the year, and we're talking to them now about increasing their buy with us by at least $500. And that's $250 we'll put towards ad buys and $250 for us to manage it. And so that would be, if I can do that and we have success and I can show in analytics and Facebook Insights that they're already paying us $500. I'm trying to get them to pay us $1,000. And these are, realtor and the liquor store owner, and they're small businesses. But if I can increase their buy and really do them some good with Facebook, we're already on Facebook with them, doing it for them every day. So it's just I think I'd probably charge more, but they're going to be my guinea pigs.
So my hope is that for INN and for Lion and for others who are not affiliated with either of the two, and people who are just coming into the field, that maybe 8%, 14%, 17% might have a situation where their advertisers / underwriters, depending on the market, don't have are up or for a social media concierge upsell kind of thing, or also the other have to have people who are or you can have a checklist, but I'm not sure you can find people like Ali or Tuesday, have people who can really have an affinity for it. Also, if you've got 2 external factors, you might have a way to find a revenue stream that is earned income that allows you to stay closer to the core of what you want to do. So that's like one of maybe 14 different ways that you can come up with something that would be different.
We're running very close to time, so that's okay. I want to make sure that Glenn has an opportunity to talk, and I want to share some links with you.
In the ecosystem of hyperlocal, Sioux City Metro is ancient. We'll be 9 years old next month. So as you can imagine, the email list we started 9 years ago, and we did start an email list 9 years ago and doing newsletters, gone through various iterations, is old. And we've had people who gave us their work email address 9 years ago, and that was, or they gave us, I'm sorry?
AOL.
Yeah, or they gave us an email address that has since been hacked, and they've changed it 3 times since then because someone hacked into their email. So we had about 10,000 email subscribers getting our newsletter, but our open rate was very low, and because our list was so low. So we went back and we cut out about half of them. So my goal is to use this project to rebuild that email list. But what really surprised me and what I didn't suspect was after we kind of got into it to see so many other possibilities. We've talked about it just a little here. We are doing much more branded content, sponsored content, with native content, whatever you want to call it. We're doing a lot more of that now than we did. We used to be banner ads, and now most of our money is coming from branded content. And we put that branded content out there. Someone pointed out in a session yesterday, that content is forever. It's not like a banner ad. So I'm seeing ways that we can use Facebook and that ad manager system to really target the people we want to with that banner ad, and perhaps use that as an upsell. So one of the big things we are looking at for 2018, and we always have one big initiative per year, is to see if we can, beyond my initial goal of rebuilding my email list, is to see if we can do a much better job of getting that branded content that we do for our clients out to the people who they want to read it.
That's really smart. It's succinct. Thanks, Glenn.
At least one of us.
So Facebook fundamentals, we have a couple minutes, but I want to tell you about this and then leave everybody with some gifts. So as we've got this cohort going, and they're doing their work with Facebook and with David and myself until the end of the year. Then we're planning to bring another group of folks on in January to do a similar set of projects. That's one piece of this project. Another piece of this project is finding other ways that we can help the overall memberships of LINE and INN. So some of the things that we've identified, as David said when we were talking about early findings, that there are a lot of tools, like we talked about, that we aren't using the best or we didn't know existed. There are a ton of case studies, tons and tons of case studies on Facebook's site. And some of them across different industries could be really useful for us to copy and model in our industry. And so we've been thinking about all of those things. And so as a first start to that, what we've done is built this program. So we've been setting up one-on-one sessions with Public Narrative, and Susie Schultz is here from Public Narrative today. Susie and Maggie Walker have been working with us on this, and what we're doing is setting up one-on-one webinars with you and a trainer from Public Narrative, and we'll walk you through setting up all these different things. So some of the things that we've identified, making sure that you know what the official media partner support portal is, applying for verification for nonprofits considering and looking at social good, setting up your Facebook ads account, we talked about, and learning how to use that tool and the targeting tools within there, and also installing Facebook Pixel, which allows you to track multiple different things so you can make sure that you're converting the way you want and getting done what you want to do. And we're also doing, making sure that you get access to CrowdTangle, and Amber is here from CrowdTangle today. And you have a session tomorrow?
No.
Right after this, okay, great.
Please, yeah.
Yeah, so Amber's session is up next. And so Facebook has been wonderful in helping get INN and LINE organizations set up through CrowdTangle. And then there's a lot of training after that. We've also been working on instant articles for some organizations. We're going to start to do that more, especially making sure that you have them installed so that you're picking up your analytics. Because a lot of people think that, oh, I'm going to give my pages to Facebook, but that's not actually what works. You install your analytics code and you're tracking all those pages. Making sure that ads that you want are there, and especially using the call to action buttons. The email one is really important. You know how you open an instant article and there's that little box at the top that's already got your email in it? You just have to hit yes, I want to sign up for Honolulu Civil Beat's email, one tap, and you now have built a email connection with the reader. And that's a connection you can own after that.
Of an
which is
email
really
you didn't
important.
have,
Right.
of an email that Facebook had but you didn't have.
Yeah.
It's already populated, so it's just one touch.
Yeah, so things like that are part of the early fundamentals program. So we're working with INN right now on that. There's also some strategy coaching that Susie is providing to organizations one-on-one. Then we're going to move to Lion next, so you'll be hearing more about this probably in early November. I would think we're still working through some of the last INN organizations. And so we built this list of links for you. We've mentioned a ton of stuff today, and maybe you took notes, maybe you didn't, maybe you're not going to remember what we said. So at bit.ly/Facebook local links, you'll find a big list of stuff that we try to organize according to different topic. There are links there so you can learn more about the media partner portal, for example, learn more about Facebook Blueprint, request access for CrowdTangle, all those sorts of things. And then at the very bottom, we started to try to think about a checklist. A few people have asked me, like, what are the basics? What do I just need to know? And so you'll find at the bottom of that document also a checklist that has some of the things that you could and should think about. So I don't know if this is not really going to show
Awesome.
nice on here, but yeah. But this is what you'll get when you go to that bit.ly link. Lots and
One
lots
of those
stuff.
links is something that I forgot to mention, and I was determined to mention it, so I'm jumping in. Is I also had all of my reporters do the Facebook journalism certification. Is that what it is? It's like it doesn't take that long, and all of you should do it. I did it, but it is inspiring. It shows you a lot of different things you can do. It shows you stories that were done and played out on Facebook and how engaged the community was. And I just go through it because it is. I swear you can do it in one night. You can do it in one night.
The Pointer training or
The thing that was with Pointer and
yes,
Facebook.
One,
Yeah.
Yeah, that link is down here. Yep, I
Very
just
good.
passed it.
So definitely take the time to do that. You can literally do it in one night.
I also would want to say, I mean, I don't know what you think about, connections with Facebook or reaching a human voice or a connection from Facebook, but on our project, Doreen's team, sometimes some of her members, the first email in the day, and like last at night, and by last at night I mean like 10:48 or 11:02 p.m. were from their team trying to help some issue that we had with one of the publishers. So I just want to thank Doreen's team for that. Yeah.
I wasn't in the cohort, but our team has, since this thing has started, our page has become verified. We have CrowdTangle, and I know that has everything to do with
Yeah.
what's going on with this group of people. And so I just
We've
on
been
behalf,
submitting lists.
Yeah,
All
just
that
thank
stuff,
you
yeah.
on behalf for the work.
Still not
I would-
verified.
Can I just say,
Well,
Don't, do not ask me.
being able to get feedback is really important to me, and I am set up for something next week with public narrative.
Great,
Yeah.
good. Who were you?
But Maggie,
Oh,
Yeah.
Iowa. Yes,
Yeah.
Iowa, yeah.
and so we had some INN training on
That's
this,
Latoya.
and I got about 1/3 of the way through it, and I believe I got verified, but now all of a sudden I don't have access to boosting and other types of things on my page. And
I think you were, did you email me about this?
yeah, that I'm a
Yes.
total mess.
Yes, no.
Those were the words
I
I
think
used.
you
Or,
would say
or
that.
no, dumpster fire, I think.
You might have.
But it's
Yeah.
like I can't fix it. And
Yeah,
so that's,
Doreen and I have been talking about your issue over email today, actually.
okay,
Yes.
yeah. And so being able to have some contact to ask someone,
Yeah.
what do I do, is
Yes.
really gonna be valuable.
Yes.
can I just say three quick things? One, definitely stay for CrowdTangle if you don't know what it is, because it's really interesting to like monitor what's going on in your communities.
Very helpful.
Number two, I forgot to say that you can't usually use the ads. You can't use the ad platform on Facebook unless you have Facebook Pixel installed, and that's a little bit of a process that you have to go through. So that's just a heads up about that, and they will help you with that. This group will help you with that. And do you have Ads Manager
Yes.
loaded? Because you lose access to your page.
Yeah, you darn right you
And
do.
it happened to me. And the only way I could fix it was taking my page off of Business Manager and managing it separately from Ad Manager. And I
Okay.
Googled it, and it seems like it's a common problem.
That happened to me too.
Yeah, and so that's exactly what's happened to me, is now I can't control the
So you can
business
fix
side.
it, you can.
Yeah, I fixed it by taking the page out of my Business Manager,
Okay.
and I just manage it. And my development director had to invite me back to our page.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Well,
you have another ad.
I'm being asked to get permission from the manager of the page, and that's me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it
It can be
has
fixed.
been escalated.
But that's why it's Business
That's a
Manager
glitch.
makes you do it.
Thank you for bringing that up.
No, I mean, there might have been like, like 8 or 9 glitches, but I'd say a ton of them have been worked through.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think that it might have been.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I just saw Dylan.
We're done.
So this
Okay.
is my email address too. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a note. I'll get back to you or catch me here. I'm here tonight, tomorrow. And I can answer any questions. Get in touch with people.